Shalom, shalom. This video is about the book of Acts, chapter 2, verses 25 to 36. And it's all about Kefa Simon Peter explaining King David's prayer from Psalm 110 to the crowd. And this happened, of course, after the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. As you know, book of Acts, chapter 2 is all about. And Kefa Simon Peter is speaking on the temple stairs to the pilgrims who's attending Shavuot, and they are from all over the world, all over the diaspora, but essentially Jewish people also raised with other languages as their mother tongue. So Simon Peter Kefa continues. For David said about him, about Yeshua, I saw Adonai always before me, for he is at my right hand, so that I might not be shaken. Therefore my heart was glad and my tongue rejoiced. Moreover, my body will also live in hope, because you will not abandon my soul to Sheol. So let your Holy One see decay. What he's saying, the Holy One, the Messiah, will not see decay. You have made known to me the paths of life. You will fill me with joy in your presence. Brothers, Kefa Simon Peter said, I can confidently tell you that the patriarch David died and was buried. His tomb is with us to this day. So because he was a prophet and he knew God had sworn with an oath to him to seat one of his descendants on his throne, David saw beforehand and spoke of Messiah's resurrection, that he was not abandoned to Sheol, and his body did not see decay. Indeed, did not. This Yeshua, God raised him up, and we are all witnesses to it. Therefore, being exalted to the right hand of God and receiving from the Father the promise of the Ruach HaKodesh, he poured out this, what you now see and hear, referring to the disciples who received the Spirit and who were talking in every earthly language to where Jews had been spread to in diaspora. For David did not ascend into heavens, yet he himself said, Adonai said to my Lord. What the text says actually, Yodai Vafai said to Adonai, or Adoni, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool at your feet. And that's the quote from Psalm 110 verse 1. Therefore let the whole house of Israel know for certain that God has made him, this Yeshua whom you have crucified, God has made him both Adonai and Messiah. In Psalm 110 we read that Yod-Vav spoke to Adonai and said, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool under your feet. So in this, God the Father speaks to his Son, Yeshua the Messiah, who is anointed to be king over the whole world. He will rule the nations with a rod of iron from Jerusalem. And this is peculiar. God is speaking to God as the Ancient of Days, and the Son is one. It is an internal conversation within Elohim. A Kabbalistic description that resonates with me refers to the big head and the little head and the oil that flows between them as a description of God. And you can see what we understand to be a Trinity in that. But God is one and beyond our understanding. In this conversation, the Father invites the Son to take his seat of power until he submits the whole world to him on the day of his righteous wrath. Yet we know that it is Yeshua who is Adonai Tsevaot, the Lord, the God of the heavenly armies, the conquering King of kings, who will destroy the enemies of Israel upon his return. He will trample them into a bloody pulp, like grapes in a winepress. And yet, Isaiah wrote in his well-known song from Isaiah 60, how beautiful is the feet of him who brings the good news of Israel's salvation. And of course, because the Hebrew word for salvation is Yeshua. So how beautiful is the feet of him who brings the good news of Israel's Yeshua. His feet will either be beautiful to the people of his fold, or terrible to the trampled enemies at the gates of Jerusalem. In this intra-godly conversation, because Elohim is one, it is wrong to set definitions about Elohim, God, Adonai, because a definition cannot limit the limitless God. In this, Kefa Simon Peter, King David, and Isaiah all refer to Yeshua's return to establish his millennium reign. His feet will step onto the Mount of Olives, and then he will enter Zion through the eastern gate. This gate was blocked by the Ottoman Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, but the gate will still be opened by an earthquake for the returning king of the Jews, king of the kings as well, but king of the Jews, and nothing can stop him. Whilst Kefa Simon Peter's speech is difficult to understand for us because it's bespeckled in Jewish mysticism, in Kabbalistic significance, which typically is beyond our Western mind's capability of understanding. The prayer is in Elohim's promise between the Father and the Son. And from it we know that His will be done on earth as it is done in heaven. The enemies, or Hasatanim, against Israel and against the God of Israel will be trampled into a footstool for the Messiah. The enemies of Elohim is revealed in their attitude towards his chosen people, Israel. And these enemies reveal themselves in either one of two manners. They are either openly anti-Semitic against the Jewish people, or covertly so, veiling themselves as anti-Zionists. But in both cases, it's because they are in enmity with the God of Israel, the Creator God, the God of our salvation. And with that, I bid you, Shalom, Shalom.